I think we're going to get the program on the road again here today. I'd like to introduce Pastor Scott Onque with Faith in Place.
Good afternoon to everyone. I am super excited to be here. I was just having a conversation with Stephen about our similarity in our work. I'm Pastor Scott Onque, the Policy Director for Faith in Place, and I do what we call Faithful Citizen Workshops, or the title of this workshop is actually Branching Out into the World, Faithful Advocacy. And we're an organization that's committed to educating people of faith around earth care, around environment care, climate justice, environmental justice, and so our goal is to continue to do that. There would be a question of why do we do what we do, why do we advocate? It's because we really care. Faith in Place is a 20-year-old organization developed or established around educating people of faith around, again, earth care, how to care for the earth, stewardship around 4 pillars, land and food sustainability, as well as youth, and then we also have advocacy. And we also we have our table out front with Samantha, and we would encourage you to stop by and just learn about what we're doing. We believe that there's only so much one person can do, or individual houses of worship. So we must change policies and systems to create a world that we want, with clean air, clean water, and healthy communities. And we believe people of faith are a powerful force for change. And so that's why we encourage people of faith to be a part of our movement, as we continue to encourage people to understand what Faith in Place actually does. So we advocate, and we advocate largely because we really care. If you are passionate about something, of course, you will speak strongly about that. And so that's why we advocate. One of the things we've done, we've gone down to Springfield along with some other environmental organizations to advocate for certain policies. We have a C3 as well as a C4 part of our organization, and our C4 actually advocates for bills and policies that benefit the care of the earth, and then our C3, Faith in Place, educates around those issues. So to give you a little bit about Faith in Place. Faith in Place is diverse people of all faiths leading the environmental movement towards justice. And if you had one of my lengthy workshops, you'll hear me talk a lot about environmental justice, environmental racism, how all of these things affect marginalized people, people of color, those that are least able to fight for themselves, but mostly affected by the disproportionate planting of polluting plants or companies. And so our mission in Faith in Place is to empower Illinois people of all faith to be leaders in caring for the earth, providing resources to educate, connect, and advocate for healthier communities. And so a question was asked, well, why do you go around the state and talk about environmental justice? Why do you wake up with such a passion to speak out against these injustices? Well, this is how I put it. When you view the lens of social justice, environmental justice seems to intersect with the injustices that have affected people of color and the least amongst the most. Whether it's land or air pollution, water justice, lead pipes, food scarcity, or any other environmental issues, there must be an intentional effort to correct these injustices. And that's just a quote by me. But when we think about this thing called justice, and we know that we are people of justice, Faith in Place speaks strongly about justice, I like to describe environmental justice as an umbrella of overarching construct, which really means there's a lot to it. There's more than just the word environmental justice. There's more than just the phrase of social justice. And so when we think about environmental justice, it has to have an overarching construct, which simply means where we live, Think about where we live, the communities that we live in, our houses, our homes, where they're located. That's important. We want to make sure that there's justice there. Where we play, where our children go outside. There are such things as frontline communities where our children are actually at risk of being exposed to toxins and causing them to have asthma and all kinds of adverse diseases because of where they play. Where we pray, where we go to our particular houses of worship, no matter what your denomination or your faith is, the place where you gather to talk to your higher power, it's important that there's justice there. Where we go to school, that's important. Where our children go to school, where we go to school in college, where we recreate as well as intersect with others. It means equity and distributive justice, meeting people where they are, determining what their needs are to be safe as well as healthy. And so when we continue this fight for justice, then there are various parts that make up the umbrella, this overarching construct that I talked about. There are these things such as climate justice, civil rights, criminal justice, economic justice, housing justice, water justice, food justice, as well as other important issues that are incorporated into our environment. Which leads me to this, advocacy. And so when we do this workshop, we talk a lot about advocacy. And advocacy is defined as an action that speaks in favor of, recommends, argues for a cause, supports or defends, or pleads on behalf of others. And as people of faith, I can't stress enough, we have a voice that we can speak for others. We can speak about the injustices that we see. We can speak up and we can use our faith as a foundation of why we are speaking. That's so important. You have to hold on to your faith, and when you see injustice, that's your opportunity to speak up and to speak out. And so that's why we advocate. But we also have to understand that the most effective advocacy is done around issues you are passionate about. So when you think about your issue, when you think about that one thing that wakes you up in the morning, that gets you really fired up, that's the one thing you look at to advocate about. For instance, one thing that we know there's a hot issue is water justice. We talk about lead in our water, and how do we get lead out of the water? Well, that can be a fighting issue that you campaign on all year long, because you realize that everyone deserves healthy drinking water. So that's a good cause to advocate for. But advocacy is not just speaking up or speaking out. Advocacy is really taking action. And so when we think about taking action, I look at it in three ways. There's self-responsibility, there's corporate responsibility, and then there's government responsibility. For instance, what have you done to advocate for an issue that you know is concerning you? What have you done personally, your personal responsibility, where your conscience is connected to your issue that you have done to address these issues? And then also corporate responsibility. We have to hold corporations responsible for being good citizens, good corporate citizens. They can't just put up plants and factories and pollute the earth and then leave those areas affected with adverse situations. We have to hold fossil fuel companies responsible for their waste. We cannot have people dumping into our rivers and our streams and causing our waters to be dirty. We have to make sure that our corporations clean up after themselves and then take part of caring for our earth. And then also government responsibility. We have to make sure that the EPA, the EPA, all take responsibility of making sure that there are restrictions in place that treats the least among us, to make sure that all citizens have the right to clean air, clean water, and a clean environment. Again, where we live, where we play, where we recreate, where we pray. Those are the places for this overarching construct. And so someone will say, well, how do I get involved? How do I advocate? It's so much to advocate for. Well, again, what's your passion? But again, what motivates you? What motivates you? And I must say, people must be motivated to take action. They must be motivated to take action. I'm not going to take my personal responsibility seriously until I'm actually motivated to be in the fight, motivated to take up the cause, because there's going to be some sacrifice that's involved in advocacy, time as well as effort. And then we want to understand, when I look at personal responsibility, and I'm just going to stay on this subject just for a minute, am I doing my part? Well, there's a lot that you can actually do that will have a great effect in helping move legislation, helping your legislators understand what you're passionate about. As people of faith, we have a voice, and we can make sure our voices are heard. So let me just leave you with these things that you can do as a faithful citizen. A faithful citizen is one, again, that cares about the issues. First of all, every citizen, every person of faith should hold their legislators accountable. So there's legislative accountability. What that means is that you should visit your legislators, your state reps, as well as your state senators, and also, as far as the city, you can go and visit the city hall, your aldermen, and let them know what your concerns are, and let them know that you're serious about these concerns. And when you voice your opinion, it has to be recorded, so you can call, you can visit. Also, we encourage you to go down to Springfield. On March the 4th, we're having buses leave strategically to go down to Springfield to fight for clean energy. Clean energy. I'm being very optimistic. I'm thinking 1,000 people are going to show up in Springfield on March 4th just to let our governor know that we're behind him as he continues to embrace a bill that is led from the community up as far as clean energy. So we're taking people down to Springfield. You can go to our website and register. And I'll leave that slide up, but when I finish, but it's simply www.faithandplace.org, and you can register to go down to Springfield, and it's free. All you have to do is get on the bus and enjoy yourself and get a chance to meet some of your legislators down in Springfield. Also, if you know someone's having a town hall meeting, I encourage you to be a part of your town hall meetings. I was just at one on Monday night with Representative LaShawn Ford on the west side around clean water. He wanted to understand more about lead in the water and what we can do. And so I participated with other concerned citizens on in a town hall. And again, we want everyone to be there. We wish it was more people were there to hear about the issues and to hear how we can remedy those issues. But town hall meetings are super important. Phone calls to your legislators are super important also. A simple phone call stressing the issue, what you care about. If it's clean air, let's talk about clean air. If it's clean water, let's talk about clean water. If it's about fossil fuels, let's talk about fossil fuels. If it's talking about clean energy, let's talk about clean energy. Renewables, all of the things that are surrounding clean energy. Let your legislators know that you're interested in that. And then also there's a thing called witness slips. And you can use your opportunity. If you can't get to Springfield, if you called your legislator, if you went to his in-district, when you see a bill, and if you connect to an agency, organization like Faith in Places Action Fund, every so often we will send out an email asking for you to support a bill or go against a bill that goes against what we stand for. And we just simply ask for you to do a witness slip. And it's easy because we will include a link for you to link on to do your witness slip. And a witness slip is your presence at a meeting without you ever being there. Every witness slip must be acknowledged at the committee before a vote happens. And so witness slips for and against are acknowledged, and it's better to have more for what your cause is than against. And so these are the things that you can do as a faithful citizen as you engage in the process to take self-responsibility in this fight, or as we say, advocacy. And again, advocacy is just a big word to say that I'm going to do something about something that I'm passionate about. I'm Pastor Scott Anquay. I'm the policy director for Faith in Place. Our website is www.faithinplace.org. We also have a C4 organization called Faith in Place Action Fund. Again, you can find us there at www.faithinplaceaction.org. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me at scott@faithinplace.org. The telephone number is 312-733-4640 and extension 119. I'll leave that slide up so you can gather that information. But please do stop at our table. We have a wealth of information on all of the programs that we do, all of the exciting things that Faith in Place engages all year long. We're getting ready now, again, for our March 4th trip down to Springfield. But in September, we'll have our great big day, which we call our Green Team Summit, there at the Field Museum, where hundreds of people come and learn about the environment and learn how to care for the earth. And so we encourage you to keep in contact with us. Thank you so much for your time.